Welcome back, friends and fans, to another episode of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing convention-style entertainment directly to you. Today, we're going to Hawkins, Indiana, with a fantastically talented young guest, so now is the time for all of you in our chat room to start typing in your questions. Immediately after this, you'll have the opportunity to talk to him directly through our private chat options, as well as purchasing autographs and personalized video recordings at GalaxyCon.com. And now, let's bring him out. He is an actor, a singer, a spokesman for cranial dysplasia awareness, and whose credits include Broadway productions of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Les Miserables, Angry Birds 2, and of course, the role of Dustin Henderson in Stranger Things. Please welcome Gaten Matarazzo.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hello.
Good. How you been, boss?
I'm doing great. I'm doing real good.
That's good. Everything okay with you and your part of the world?
Yeah. I'm living life, relaxing, trying.
Indeed. Has the quarantine affected you too heavily?
Quite a bit. Work's on pause. We were in the middle of filming 4, and then they said nope.
Yeah.
So they said 2-week break, and we've been gone for 3 months.
And that was 3 months ago, right? Okay, yeah. Hey, that's showbiz, right? Indeed. So, what I'd love to do is get a little background on you for those who may not know it. How did you get interested in acting?
Well, when I was about 7 years old, I just turned 7. My sister had already been doing community theater locally where we live in New Jersey, and I didn't know anything about it. And she eventually wanted to start looking for representation so she could start to work as well. And there was a showcase in New York. So there's a showcase where representation goes, so a lot of different managers and agents. And my sister went and performed there. And one of the managers that was there took interest in her and wanted to sign her. And I happened to be there up in the city because I was 7 and couldn't be home alone. And I remember she asked me, she said, do you want to do this too? Just to start a conversation. And I said, yes. I had no idea what she was talking about. I just wanted to be like my big sister. And so after that, we went to her office a couple of days later so she could hear me read and sing for her. And then she signed me as well. And so it just kind of took off from there, kind of by accident. So yeah. It was cool.
Yeah, you were not the first actor who went along with a sibling and then got caught in the mix. So there's definitely a precedent for this. So you, what was your first role you got cast for?
My first role actually was Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. It was
right out of the gate. That was the first thing.
Well, it took almost 3 years.
Okay, yeah. So
it took almost 3 years of auditioning very consistently. I was up in New York, and I live in southern New Jersey, so it's about a 2-hour commute to New York.
Yeah.
And so I was making the commute to New York about 3 times a week after school to do a lot of auditions, and they would just come in. But I would hear the same stuff usually, just too short. A lot of trouble when it came to the whole teeth situation. So I was just wanted to keep on doing it. I was enjoying it, and usually you get used to the rejection. You get used to hearing no, which is I think is a good thing. Especially as an actor, you got to get used to hearing no. It's going to happen a lot.
Well, that is an advantage you have about starting at the age you do, because if you stick to it, you've built up your thick skin.
For sure. Yeah. Exactly. And after a little while, I booked Priscilla. After auditioning for it like 3 times, and then after that, I started consistently booking stuff.
Nice. Going to Priscilla, what was that like to, I assume probably your parent got the call like, hey, guess what?
I remember it was funny. I had gotten cast in the Radio City Christmas Spectacular tour. And so we immediately were like so excited we're going to take that job. And we were, I don't know, I think I found out in the car. I was either on my way up to the city or on my way back from the city. I might have been on my way back from the city. And then a couple days later, we got the call that I had also booked Priscilla. So I booked both of them at the same time, but I didn't know I booked Priscilla. And so I went to my manager's office. Actually, I went to my agent's office, and my manager was there, which she never really is. And she waited there. She wanted the whole family there. And she said that I booked it. And so for my first role, I had to decide between 2. And it was either a Broadway credit or a small tour, not a small tour, but a tour that was going to last a couple of months. So obviously we took the I
think Broadway was the good
kind of
Strategic.
way to go, I guess. And I just remember that moment. My mom was freaking out more than I was because I just didn't really comprehend what was going on.
Yeah.
I guess at that point I was just kind of tired and I was just ready to be like, oh, okay, let's do this. I don't even know what to do right now. But
And how old were you then?
I was 9. I was
Wow.
8. I was 8 when I was cast. And
Wow.
I started to run when I just turned 9.
Wow. Getting your equity card at 8 years old.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very nice. So did a run on that, and by all accounts, that was a very solid show.
It's a very fun show. Oh my gosh, Priscilla's such a blast, and it was so cool. And it was actually it was really cool getting to be introduced to the community that the show is surrounded around, and it's so cool getting to be introduced to that from such a young age. And so it was very inspiring. A lot of really, really great people showed me what it was like to express yourself and just be yourself and know that it's okay to be yourself.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Priscilla Queen of the Desert is about a drag queen in Australia, a man who does drag, and how he's never met his son. So he's never met his son, who lives about halfway across Australia, and it's
on the other side of the country,
other side of the continent. And so him and a couple of his friends, he tells a couple of his friends that they have a gig in Alice Springs, and he doesn't tell them that he has a son or that he's married to a woman. And so it's about he's going to meet his son, and they're going for a gig, and it's all 70s jukebox music. It's so much fun, and it's very fun and very, very very, very heartfelt, and it's such a fun story. And it's funny, and the guy who played my dad, Will Swenson, was in Les Mis on Broadway with me as well.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Yeah. When I heard most of the time when I hear they're taking movies, taking into musicals, I'm always like, okay, whatever. But when I heard about Priscilla, I was like, yes, that's absolutely.
Yeah.
absolutely
and the fact that they had all 70s and 80s music, that was the music that they had in the show. That's all the songs that they sang, and it was great.
And all of it from long before you were born.
Yes, very much so. Very much so.
So that, and you mentioned Les Mis.
Yeah.
Very, very, two very, very, very different.
It's actually funny. I had been auditioning for the Les Mis tour since I was 7. Yeah. It was my first audition that I can remember, was auditioning for the tour. I auditioned every 6 months until the end of the tour, which was a 3-year tour. So I had auditioned 6 times, and I finally got cast at the last leg of the tour. And so I got to do that for the last 6 months, and it was absolutely fantastic. So that role, I was trying so hard for that role for so long, for what felt like forever.
Well, and again, too, it's I always tell everybody about the audition process. It's like, you're not auditioning for the role; you're auditioning to be welcome to come back and audition again.
Yes, exactly. That's what. Oh my gosh, the amount of you get callback, final callback, second final callback, and then you just hear no. It happened. Right. It happened 6 times, and the last one came. I was like, let's just get it over with.
Did you ever have to go to a costume fitting? And then that happened to me once. I got a costume fitting. I'm in. Nothing.
No, they had to. That's ridiculous.
Yes, it was.
If they're fitting you for costumes, you should at least be in line to perform.
But that's showbiz.
That's showbiz.
Absolutely,
that's
absolutely.
A crazy world.
So you were really building yourself a really good theatrical stage background, and you still go to school.
I do, yeah. So that was the hardest part, was having to balance. I still go to public school, and I'm graduating this year, which is exciting. I mean, it's weird considering the times we're in, but which is, I mean, I think we've all gotten used to the idea, at least us seniors, that we'll have to just watch our graduation on a computer screen. Yeah. But I had been going to public school my whole life, and so I would go up to the city after school to do the shows. And when I was in Les Mis, on Wednesdays, we'd have matinees. And so on Wednesdays, I'd miss school and have to catch up that work the next day. And when I was in the show in 6th grade, it was in March, and I was in 6th grade, and I was doing fine. And then 7th grade rolled around, and I was in it in 7th grade all the way until March of 7th grade. And my grades were not good in 7th grade. And after the year, they're like, "You're too tall," and I'm like, "Good, I can't keep doing it because I'm going to fail school if I keep doing this." So that was the hardest part, was definitely balancing that out.
You raised an interesting point. I never realized that with child actors. As adults, we could age out of a role, but you literally sized out of a role.
We literally got too tall to play the part. We were growing out of our costumes. And oh my gosh, every kid gets excited about getting tall, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I've grown." It is a theater kid's worst nightmare. Oh my gosh, the conversations I've had. There was a park I'm not gonna say where the park is because I don't want people like going and stuff, because like the Broadway kids still go there and hang out. But it's in the city. It's near the theater district, and it's a little playground that between shows on Wednesdays and Saturdays, because most shows had Wednesday matinees, Saturday matinees.
Yeah,
the kids would all go after lunch and play in the park before having to go to the next show.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of times that we've like compared heights and like measured ourselves on like the playground equipment, because we were like, "No, come on, you're standing up too tall. Just slouch a little." And we would get so scared. And eventually, you just hear kids being like, their contracts weren't getting renewed, and like it was expected after the year because I was already too tall to play the part when I was cast. Me and Josh, who were both cast,
yeah,
two tallest kids in the room, and we looked at each other like, "Ugh, okay." We were both on the tour, and so we were like, "Yeah, we had a good run." And then they called us and they're like, "You're in," and we were already too tall. So I mean, that was fun. But I knew that we were already. I was surprised they renewed our contract once, because usually child actors get 6 months, and then they check to see if they've gotten too tall. Then another 6 months.
Yeah, measuring.
So scary. Literally, they're like, "It's time for measuring," and we're like, "No." Oh gosh.
So when did you get the notification of, "Hey, there's a new Netflix show. It's like a sci-fi horror thing. You recommend it?"
I had had been offered a final audition to swing in School of Rock the musical.
Oh,
so that would have been really cool. They asked me to come in and read to swing for I believe it was Zach, Lawrence, and Billy. And for those of you who don't know, swing is almost like an understudy that covers multiple roles in a show. Yes. So that's just for people watching. And then at the same time, I also was auditioning for Stranger Things. It's funny. I remember when I was doing Priscilla, somebody had asked, one of my dad's friends had asked, "You seem to be liking this quite a bit." I was like, "Uh-huh." And he goes, "You think you'll ever go to TV?" And I said, I said, "In theater, it's real acting. We have to get it right the first time." No, seriously. I was like, "Oh, it was so funny."
Boy, you were becoming a theater actor, weren't you?
I was like, "Those damn TV actors." And then I auditioned.
And their free lunches.
and their catering. But I remember I was auditioning, and it was a really cool audition process, and I knew it was going to be an interesting project from the get-go, because I'd read once. I went up to New York to read once, and then I was auditioning for Mike originally. I think most kids were auditioning for Mike, because most kids that I talked to who had read, I mean, Caleb I only read for Lucas, and Noah I'd only read for Will. But Finn had also only read for Mike. But I had read for Mike, and then I'd also read for Lucas once, and then I read for Dustin after that. And they were like, "Okay, yeah, there." But I remember that process. It was so weird. After I did the second call, they brought me in for a callback with new sides, which I found recently in my garage. Oh. I found the old audition sides, the dummy sides that didn't even make it into the show. Like it was completely different. Like Nancy had found out about 11 in season 1, and like early on in the show, and that was going to be a major portion of it. And like, oh, wow. I don't know if it was, or they're just like, "Let's just write something with the names and see if it works." And I remember that take. I wasn't even off book. It was such a quick. They called me in so like, it was such like short notice that I wasn't even off book, and I was like, that might have been one of the worst auditions I've ever done in my life. Mm-hmm. And they called me back though. They called me back, and after that second call, they sent me this link to this huge document that was basically a slideshow that told us all about what the show was and what they wanted to do with it and what their ideas were. They made a fake trailer that was comprised of a bunch of different movies from the 1980s that
Yeah.
were going to be the main inspiration of the show. And
Okay.
they took all these different collections of different films and put them all together. It was Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., The Goonies, Stand By Me. A lot of people talk about Stand By Me because it's not necessarily a sci-fi movie, but when it comes to the story, and when it comes to the emphasis on the necessity of camaraderie and the necessity of that you need to have when you're coming of age.
Yeah, at that age. Yeah.
And when you're going through a journey like that, and like both in Stand By Me and in Stranger Things, the boys go through something they never even imagined they would have to.
Yeah.
And it's
and there's another interesting factor to it too. Stand By Me, Stranger Things. I've always believed this theory that I think kids at that age can emphasize, and I think they're fascinated at seeing kids from a different time period going through the same rigmarole. I think that's why Christmas Story resonates still so much too.
Oh gosh, I watched that movie. I forget what channel does. It might be like TBS.
TBS does like 24 hours. Yeah.
And when the family comes over, that's literally all we put on.
But it's like every boy kind of remembers that age, and it's nice. Oh wow, yeah, it was like that. It's been like that for kids the whole time.
Exactly, yeah, and it's cool with Stand By Me. And Stand By Me takes place in the 50s, correct?
Yes,
in the 50s, and it came out in the 1980s. And so a lot of adults in the 80s were looking back and saying, "Wow, this was my childhood." And so then you have that same thing here, where a lot of adults are looking at Stranger Things and being like, "The 1980s was my childhood." So I'm excited to see like what period pieces and coming of age stories are going to be like based around now. That's what I'm excited to see one day. I mean, it may not be very exciting. I mean, kids don't do much now.
Oh, you'll get there. You'll get there. But me, a couple of fully convinced. Yes, I was at that age in 1983, and yes, D&D playing, watching those same movies and running around. Yeah,
we started getting into D&D.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've been working on the show for 5 years, and I didn't even do a campaign until during the quarantine, and it was online. It was an online campaign. It was my first one. I did it with a couple friends, and I was like, "Yes, this is everything." And I didn't even know why I didn't get into it. I was like kind of like scared I was gonna like get into like this whole hype thing.
Oh yeah.
Like people would like say, "Oh my god, he does play D&D." I was like, "Oh, I don't want to do that."
Well, I can see it might be a little, since the character, it's so much into the character mythology that, I could see. You're justified in being a little hesitant, but once you cross on over, it's like.
And once you're there, and nope, never going back. That is so much fun.
You got cast, went through the whole first season. When did you begin to realize that, oh, wait a minute, this is not just successful, this is a bona fide hit?
That's the thing. It took way longer than it should have.
Yeah.
For me, for a lot of us to comprehend that. We all knew from the get-go that after, not during filming, but after the show was released, we knew that it was a success. We knew that people were watching, that people were tuning in, that we knew it would resonate with audiences that grew up and with people that grew up in the 80s, and we thought that would be a big draw. And we knew that there was a lot going for it in the sense that it could draw in a very diverse crowd, like lots of different age ranges and people who've grown up in different areas. And that's what's really cool about it. It's because a lot of younger kids will like to watch it because they see younger actors being represented in a show that isn't geared towards children, which is really, really cool. And then you also have people who look at the nostalgia based around it, which is really cool. But and so I knew that it was going to be like that. But then I'm trying to think of like when exactly I was like,
because sometimes it's weird because Netflix they guard their figures very carefully, so it's almost like it's like you got to see from word of mouth. Truly, on social media, people, Stranger Things, and I was like, what's this?
Yeah, right. I like, what? Actually, it might have been when I heard. I'm just playing with the cover for an outlet. I don't even know why. I remember hearing people talk about when they first started watching the show, and I hear a lot of people say that they were hesitant at first because they didn't want to just watch it because it was just hype. And I was like, "There's hype," and they're like, "Yeah, there's people are watching it like just because everybody else is watching it, and it's like one of those. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I thought the people that were watching it like were drawn to it not necessarily because it was becoming it was gaining this platform on social media or so many different other fronts, but that people were just like that people were going into it and being like, this is like the show.
Yeah.
I heard all the time, and like that was really exciting. That's when I realized when people were like, I didn't want to be in the hype, but then I watched it, and now I never got not watching it before, and I'm like, yeah, I know people that
now they're grudging fans, you know.
Yeah, and I was like, why didn't you start from the beginning? But then I realized that I do that too. That I don't watch shows until they've been out for like 3-4 seasons, and then I'm like, all right. Then I go into. I've watched shows. I hate that I get into shows after they're already over. I did not watch The Office until after it had ended, and because I wasn't really old enough to enjoy The Office when it first.
See, there you go.
Yeah. I wasn't really old enough to like really appreciate that, and it wasn't until recently I was like, oh.
Well, and again, as an old fart, I'm telling you, you have so many tremendous advantages in having access to all that stuff.
Oh,
you
right?
know? I mean, I'm from the VHS generation, so
that's really cool.
You missed it. It's done. And putting TV shows even on VHS was like, maybe it was like a Seinfeld level, sure, but otherwise,
Absolutely.
So, tell us a little bit about CCD and your work with CCD Smiles.
Okie dokie. Well, I'll start off with telling everybody what CCD is. CCD is short for cleidocranial dysplasia, which is a condition that I was born with. It is a genetic condition that affects the growth of the bones. A lot. It usually affects the jaw, which means that's why my teeth are all messed up. It's kind of like a trademark thing I have going on, which is cool. It helps me. Use my platform to talk about the condition. It also affects skull growth, and I actually have no collarbones. I have no clavicles. Most people who have it either have some underdevelopment of the clavicles, or just a good portion of people with it just have no clavicles at all.
Wow.
And like, I have a very mild case. And so I wasn't really able to understand what a lot of people who had it really went through until the show came out. And once I did the show, a bunch of people who had most people that I've met who have the condition have not met anybody else until we were able to get CCD Smiles up and running. And like CCD Smiles. So CCD Smiles is an organization that is raising money to help people with the procedures that go along with cleidocranial dysplasia. The founder, Kelly Wozniak, is a medical professional. She also has cleidocranial dysplasia, and she's been working on this for quite a while. And it took something like Stranger Things, and for that, it took that platform for it to finally launch and gain some ground, which is really, really exciting. But what we do is we raise money so people can pay for their procedures, because the biggest issue right now, one of the biggest issues, is not even just letting people know what the condition is, but letting doctors and medical professionals know what's up with the condition. Because I have heard so many horror stories about people not really knowing how to manage it. The reason I had no teeth in season 1 is because they pulled them out expecting my regular teeth to just grow in. They're like, it's a delay. We'll pull them out and they'll come on.
Wow.
That's what they always do. We'll just pull them out and they'll grow in on their own. You just have a delay. It'll work out. But the thing is that when I got my front teeth pulled, like 2 years prior to season 1, and so I just had that for a while, and and a lot of people, what's really scary is a lot of people will have a lot of those teeth extracted, expecting them to come in, and eventually they don't have any that they need. So they don't have those baby teeth that need to be there to be able to do answers to. And so a lot of people resort to implants, which are expensive and a lot of them are reliable and not really sustainable in any way. And so that was the biggest thing. And what the worst part about it is that you have insurance companies going back and forth trying to argue whether it's medical or dental. The fact that it is a medical condition. This is a condition that and then what they do is they'll meet in the middle and they'll be like, hey, we don't have to cover this. This is a cosmetic surgery.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
do they pull a cosmetic card on this?
Cosmetic card on this, and having proof is cosmetic, which is ridiculous. So we're trying to fight for advocacy for making sure that people who have cleidocranial dysplasia are covered medically to have those procedures done. So we've been working on that as well. But right now, what the funds are going to is making sure that we can get people to pay for things like implants if they've already gone to a point where they can't really return, or helping kids with the developmental issues in their jaw, and actually helping a lot of people with spinal situations and with problems with their back. A lot of people with the condition end up having scoliosis.
Wow. So it seems like the biggest problem is one is awareness, and even among the medical community, and it seems like a lot of just misdiagnosis or just wrong diagnosis at all.
Yeah, exactly. And I know people who weren't diagnosed until their 30s.
Yeah.
We're told they did not know what they had. Some people did not know what they had until Stranger Things came out, until they heard the name, and a lot of people have the condition. It's recognizable based on facial features and bone structure. For people with more severe cases, it's easy to tell. So when some people saw me and realized that a lot of my features were similar to theirs, they were to look up and research, and they ended up being diagnosed, which was that was really interesting. That was really, really cool.
Wow. And to let our audience know, GalaxCon is donating 10% of this and of this experience to CCD Smiles. You are donating your whole gate to CCD Smiles. And we have a special commemorative GalaxyCon Gaten t-shirt available.
Yay!
The Gaten Bot t-shirt. All the proceeds from this will go to CCD Smiles. You can head over to GalaxyCon.com and order yours right now, or any other point, at least towards the end of the day. We might just keep this on our catalog as a permanent fixture, permanent basis. We'll figure that out later. But the main thing is you can get it right now. It's the GalaxyCon bot, our mascot, infused up with Gaten's character, and this is nice. I'm going to get one
really cool. That's a really cool shirt.
You are immortalized, young man.
I see that. Yeah. So if you want it, get it, because all the money there is going to the organization, and that would really help out a lot. That'd be really, really great.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, if you want to have a private chat with Gaten, get a picture, get an autograph, you can also get that information at GalaxyCon.com. What do you say we take some questions from our audience?
I would love that.
Let's lay it on. I'll ask for Jude, our producer, to throw the first one at us. And this comes from Matthew. What's your favorite video game of the 80s?
The Legend of Zelda, the first Legend of Zelda. I absolutely love that game. I love the Zelda games, all of them. I'm going to say probably the best game series of all time. And I'm pretty sure that I keep debating about what the best video game of all time is, but all of them up there are Zelda games.
Fair.
I keep deciding between Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild, and I've played both so many times. I love it. But yes, the first Legend of Zelda, 100%. I played it like 9 times.
Nice. I'm a Street Fighter man myself.
I see.
I was back when the first game we hit the plungers.
Yeah, right.
Matthew, thank you. That was a great one. What's next? From Ensign Brian. Where would you film Stranger Things if you could film it anywhere in the world?
Somewhere in upstate New York, because it's closer to home. That's pretty much it. I remember it films in Atlanta, Georgia, and I love Atlanta. And actually, there's a lot of people down there that I'm very close with because of the show. So I kind of look at it as a second home, considering I have a lot of friends there now, and so I enjoy it now. So I wouldn't really change it because I want excuses to be able to go back. But if I could, at first, we thought I was going to be filming in New York. We thought I was going to be filming in Montauk, New York, because that's where it was originally going to take place, was in Montauk, New York. There were a lot of issues with that because there is a lot of stuff that we ended up not being able to put it in Montauk because we were basing the show off of a real place and based off of real events. So we had to. So it still is based off of the events that took place in Montauk in the 1970s and 80s, going towards the end of the Cold War, in a place called Camp Hero. And on that, it's called this stuff the Montauk Project, which is really, really interesting. There's a lot of theories about human experimentation and horrible that. Awful that. just I read about stuff like found up on the beaches in Montauk and the weirdest stuff. So it was based around that and the conspiracy around that. So probably New York because it's closer to home and because that would be really cool to help tie in with the original premise.
Absolutely. Cool. And so Brian, thank you for that one. Let's do another. From Sky, what was your absolute favorite part of filming the seasons or your fondest memory of Stranger Things?
God, that's hard. That's literally 5 years of memory right now. I'm going back to when I was 13. I just turned 13 when we started filming season 1. So, oh my gosh. One of my favorite memories. Honestly, it might, and I know this is like people are going to be like, but filming the never-ending story scene was genuinely one of the most fun experiences I've had working, like seriously. And we the that it was gonna hit like it did. Like we knew it was gonna become like the internet sensation thing, and it was so much fun. And I remember doing that. And I remember working with Gabby, who plays Susie, and we like rehearsed the song beforehand. And we like planned we made harmonies and like, well, she's a Broadway girl too. She was in the production. She was in Fun Home on Broadway. And she's so talented, amazing. And we like basically rehearsed this whole number, and they were like, "Knock it back, seriously! Like this sounds too professional." We practice.
Yeah.
And that was so funny. And that whole day, because I was off camera for her coverage in her room, which is on studio, and then she was there when I was singing. Actually, it was really cool. We filmed the scene where I'm singing on the hill, on this little hill on our lot. So we put up blue screens behind this little grassy hill that looked, and literally behind the blue screen is just all of our studio stuff.
Yeah.
And all of the stages were there. And so they actually filmed like a lot of coverage just there on the lot and just made it look like we were out where we had filmed a lot of the wider stuff on the hills and stuff. So she was there for that because we did the whole day on down stages. And it was just because everybody was so freaking happy that day. I just remember afterwards, everybody was laughing. And it was just one of the better days that I can remember filming.
Cool.
Such good vibes on set. And everybody there was just so happy to be making that show.
Yeah.
It's so
awesome.
An honor.
Awesome. Sky, thank you. That was a great one.
Okay.
Yeah. What's this one? Lily G. If you could be in any movie from the 80s, which would it be?
Any movie from the 80s. Well, I'm going to say Star Wars because absolutely. But I know A New Hope was 77. So
you could have popped in on Empire or Jedi.
Empire, Return of the Jedi. I'm going to pick Return of the Jedi because it's like the movie that I have the most memories about is that one. Like, of course, I remember watching like the Star Wars. Star Wars is what launched me into entertainment. That wasn't Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. When I was watching little kids, just the first.
And now it's the same thing.
Yeah. And so now it's like that was the first form of entertainment that I was introduced to, and I was immediately in love with it. Immediately. So I'm gonna pick Return of the Jedi only because all of the stuff on Endor is so cool. The Speed Racer stuff, that'd be so cool. Even if I just got to be like a rebel soldier in like the cool camo costumes.
Yeah.
Be a stormtrooper, that would be awesome.
Right on. Cool. Lily, thank you. That was a great one.
Lily.
What do we have next? From Miranda. What are some of your favorite bands and what music do you listen to?
I listen to a very wide range of music. Favorite band. I love Green Day. I've always loved Green Day very, very much. It's one of the first bands I actually started to listen to that actually introduced me to music as well, which is really cool. But so a lot of classic rock as well. I love Led Zeppelin. And what's actually really cool, I don't know if you guys have heard of Greta Van Fleet. You guys know Greta Van Fleet? They are a newer rock band, and the lead singer just sounds identical to Robert Plant. It is insane, and their stuff is awesome.
Writing that down.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so cool! You will not regret it. It's amazing. I love my Joe Keery's new stuff.
Yeah,
Joe. It's Joe with the D in the front, so DJO. He's an album called 2020, and I don't think he actually realizes that Like when I told him that I loved his music, like I think he thought I was just being nice, being like, "Good job releasing like your album." I don't think he understands. I know every lyric to every song on that album. I don't think he gets that I'm literally a fan of his music. I don't think he knows it. He's going to eventually, but
Oh
like,
yeah, well he'll know now.
he'll know now.
somebody in the chat room is gonna head to their social.
Like fanboy shirts and stuff.
Nice, Miranda. Thank you. That was a good one. What do we have next from Jamie? Who was the first Stranger Things cast member you met, and what was your first impression of them?
The first cast member that I met was actually at the same time I met Caleb and Sadie, because all three of us were on Broadway at the same time.
Oh.
Yes, so Sadie was in Annie, I was in Les Mis, and Caleb was in The Lion King, and so we knew each other from back then. That same park that I talked about. That park. We got to know each other there. That was really, really cool. So I met them, and we're theater kids. We all love each other. We got to stick together. So like I always loved them, and like getting to work with them again was amazing. But in context of Stranger Things, the first cast member that I met during the audition process and in context of the show was Finn. And it was when we went out to LA for the chemistry reads, when I was reading for Dustin, and he was the only Mike. He was actually the only cast member that I read with was Finn. And we did the opening scene with at the D&D table, playing D&D, and Ross Duffer, one of our creators, read for Lucas because they didn't have a Lucas in at the audition room, so he was our Lucas, and they had I think he might have read for Lucas and Will during that, and I think they took that scene from the audition word for word, and it's in the show. But it was so cool, and he's so funny, and genuinely we got along instantly. And I remember how nervous he was going into it, and I remember, I mean, like I've been auditioning for 4 years before that, like just like more than that. I've been auditioning consistently for 5-6 years at that point, just going in and just doing as much as possible. So like the auditioning process was not as like jarring for me. I mean, it was different because I never had to go to like LA for like a chemistry read like that. So it was nerve-wracking. I remember seeing Finn biting his nails. His leg is bouncing up and down faster than I've ever seen anybody's ever. And he's reading his lines, and he looks terrified. And I just sat down next to him. I said, "Hey," and he looks at me and just goes, "Hey," and then immediately, and we just started talking, and we ended up going to the hotel pool after that, and we had a really nice day. So that was really, really cool. And I remember after I gotten cast, they said, "You're the first one," and which is cool, really cool that I was the first one cast. But then I couldn't text the people that I met and ask them and be like, "Hey, I'm in. Are you in?" All I wanted to do was text Finn. All I wanted to do was be like, "Dude, please tell me you got it." But if you didn't, that would be so shitty. It'd be terrible if I was like, "I didn't know you," and he's like, "No."
Yeah, there's a certain grace period where you learn real quick.
Yeah.
You don't ask anybody, "Do you hear anything?" You wait for them to say, "Hey, I bagged the 2-day contract." Yeah.
I think he didn't know that I was cast yet, so we were kind of just waiting for each other to ask.
Yep.
But we had both already booked it at that point, and so we had kept talking back and forth. It was awesome.
Yeah, been there, done that. Jamie, thank you. It was a great one. All right, let's do another one. From Piper Cosplay, if you had the chance to be in any Broadway play, what would you choose?
I don't know if like Piper Cosplay is into theater or not, so I don't know if when you say play, I don't know if you're referring to like musicals and plays. Because I'm gonna be.
You choose.
Are we going like with either one? Okay.
I'll tell you what. If you want, you pick a play and you can pick a musical.
Okay, I'll do that. A play. I would absolutely love. Eventually, like I couldn't do this now because I'm too young. And I would absolutely love to play Lewis in Angels in America. When it comes to plays, it's literally an 8-hour play. It's insane. But I saw it in its recent Broadway run, and it was absolutely stunning. One of the greatest pieces of theater I'd ever gotten to see. One of the most astounding casts on anything. It was insane. So it might have been that experience that draws me to the show a lot. And there's something about the character, and he says so much. There's so much talking involved with Lewis, and it's such a cool role and such an extraordinary play. When it comes to musicals, though, oh boy, the list goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh goodness, I absolutely adore Dear Evan Hansen, and I've read the novel that they made. I've seen the show twice. I've listened to the music. I know all the music, and it's a role that I think so many people my age really can look into and really relate to in a sense. And so it looks challenging as hell. And like I just like kind of blocked it off because he's such a tenor, and I'm very much a baritone. So like it's like I can always dream. But yeah, so when it comes to musicals, I would love to just be able to experience that in some capacity. But also, there's Toby and Sweeney Todd, which is really, really high up on the list.
If they ever brought back City of Angels, I'd cast you as the writer in that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Totally see it. I mean, yeah, get a few more years on you, and
right.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, I could totally see you in that.
Cool.
And what our audience can see, a reminder that if you like to privately chat with Gaten like I am now, buy one of these awesome charity t-shirts, purchase an autograph, personalized recorded message, please head over to sign up at GalaxyCon.com. This is for charity and a chance to talk to this awesome young man. Cool. Let's do another one. Natalie, what was the biggest challenge while filming?
Thank you, Natalie. The biggest challenge while filming. Wow. Again, list goes on. It's a very exciting show to be a part of. Very high intensity, high energy show to be a part of, and though it's very fun, it comes along with its fair share of challenges. But from when it comes to filming itself, night shoots are always the best and the worst, because that's why you make most of the fun memories on our night shoots, because everybody's so tired that they're so giggly. And so every time we're just like, all we need is like, and I think everybody, it's like 3 a.m. and we all have coffee and we all have the caffeine jitters, but we've been up for like 20 hours already. And like, we're just like, we know that there's still hours ahead. And like, it's those times that where you have to just like laugh at it, but it can get very stressful. But when it comes to just being a part of the show in general, it has to be being away from home for a very long time. I mean, due to the pandemic, I've been home for quite a bit and getting to relax here. So I mean that I've been kind of getting antsy trying to get back into work just because it's been for a very long time. But we're usually in Atlanta filming for 7-8 months. And so it takes a while. It's more than half the year where I'm away from family. And all my family members are up here in New Jersey, and we film down in Atlanta. So.
Curiously enough, now that you're graduating high school, will this free up your availability for regular shooting?
Oh, I am so excited to finally get to experience filming the show without dealing with school. Without having to deal. I mean, I always loved filming the show anyway, and I always made sure that school was the number one priority. Was making sure that I finished school, and that I finished school at my school where I've been here forever. And
which I think is very commendable that you stuck with that.
Thank you very much. But yeah, so that was the number one priority. But now, especially because I'm about to be 18, there are
different rules.
There are no more rules.
Whichever one you wish for, now they can abuse you like crazy.
By the time I go back to filming, I turn 18 at the beginning of September. I almost said December. I almost got my own birthday wrong. It's going to be a long day. I turn 18 in the beginning of September, and I think at that point we won't, because of the pandemic, we may not be back into filming. So I'll be 18, and so I can they can keep me as long as they need me without any time caps. Because when I'm 17, I have like a 10.5-hour limit.
Yeah.
11-hour limit
right.
for my day. And like as you get younger, it can change. Like for people who are like 8, 9, it's like an 8-hour limit. And then for like 6-year-olds, it's like a 6-hour limit. And then you have toddlers who work on the show. And we have had toddlers work on the show. The twins who play Mike's little sister, whose time cap is at like 3-4 hours, which is good and completely understandable. And everyone should completely support that. They're little babies working on the show, and so they got to make sure that they're taken care of. Now I'm turning 18. They're gonna be like, have fun.
Yeah, and for the record, we are not disparaging the child actor laws with Jackie Cooper, like had to put into, because they were working him like a mule in the 30s.
It's insane. And I realize being a child actor, what people say child actor, in the sense that a lot of people look at it, it's really good being one now rather than one even in the 80s, because I hear a lot of stories from a lot of people who have been in situations very, very similar to me, who were not taken care of, who were exploited, and who were abused. And it's disgusting what went on a while ago. And I'm glad that it's changed and that people open their minds. But I'm turning 18 and they're like, yep, 12-hour days, here we come.
Get ready, son. Get ready, son. Well, maybe it means more screen time.
Yeah, right? I mean, I guess so.
I think we have time for one more question, so I'll ask our producers to pull a really good one out of the hat. This one from Jamie. If you could only bring one item to the Upside Down, what would you bring and why?
One item. I'm trying to think of something practical, like a fire, like a lighter, but like a lighter would run out. You'd run out of lighter fluid, so maybe like a fire starter, like one of those. But how do you set a fire in the Upside Down? Everything's cold and wet. Everything's cold and wet. Maybe, like a camouflage survival blanket.
Not bad.
It's warm, and if anything comes by, I can just like duck under it and just stay there. Because, I mean, I can't be like, I'm going to bring a sword. Like, I'm not fighting back. I know that right now. If I see anything, I'm bolting. You know what I'm saying? Bye-bye is what I'm doing. So it's something that can help me hide. Because I'm small, and I can bend my bones a lot. Oh, window. My bones a lot, so I can squeeze into small spaces. That's, yeah. I guess I'll go with that.
Absolutely fair. Absolutely fair. Yeah. GalaxyCon. This has been Gaten Matarazzo, and this has been my time, but it does not have to be yours. If you would like to chat with our guests, buy one of these awesome charity t-shirts for CCD Smiles, purchase an autograph, a personalized recorded message, please head over to GalaxyCon.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out our schedule of upcoming events like this one. Gaten, before we go, any final words?
Thank you guys for tuning in. And just, this is all going to CCD Smiles, my organization. So that would be really, really good, greatly appreciated, especially you got those shirts. And I hope I get to talk to a lot of you very, very soon. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it.
Thank you for sitting with us, my young friend. This has been an absolute delight. And thank you to our audience. Thank you for those great questions. Gaten, we look forward to having you back live on a GalaxyCon stage in front of your fans.
I know.
Yes. Well, let's hope so indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again tomorrow at GalaxyCon Live. We'll be hosting the cast of CW's The Flash and the classic 80s horror film Fright Night. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care and keep washing those hands.